Hello everyone and welcome again to Whiskey Wednesday. Today we're talking about essentially a rebirth, like a renaissance of a whiskey that was once really amazing, then had a bit of a lull and is now back to its full prime in my eyes. It's the BenRiach Curiositas, curious by name, curious by nature. It is a 10-year-old peated whiskey from BenRiach, so a Speyside whiskey which has got a bit of smoke in it, a little bit unusual, a little bit of a boundary break, but those borders in Scottish whiskey they're blurring all the time now to make things a bit more interesting for you and me as whiskey drinkers. A brief story about it. So when Billy Walker bought this distillery in I think 2004, it was used for experimental reasons from Pernod to put peated whiskey into some of their blended stuff like Ballantine's and Chivas Regal and a few other things as well. So when he took over the distillery, he found these really old cool casks of peated Speyside whiskey. So when the first release of this came out, it was 46%, it had a slightly paler label, but we do know that some of the oldest whiskey in there was 19 years old and it was peated. So if you can get an original version of this, some really old stock in there. It was natural colour, no filtering, 46%, as the new version is. Then I'm not sure what happened. The 46% one went away and it was replaced by a 40% one, and it just took all the fun out of it. It lost all its charm, it lost all its character. I fell out of love with the bottle quite a bit after buying one and comparing it to the old one and was just like, it's not as fun. Those reasons have still never been disclosed as to why it was dropped to 40%, but now Rachel Barry is in charge after BenRiach, Glendronach and Glenglassaugh were sold to Brown-Forman, and she's put the magic back into it. She's given it a bit more spark, it's got like a nice little charm in its eye again. It uses refill American oak, so probably first and second fill casks. It uses some virgin oak stock, which excites me quite a lot. And it also uses rum casks as a finishing process, just to give it a little bit more sweetness to counteract the peat. So 3 different cask influences, 10 years old, no colouring, no filtration, 46%, and it's got a bit of smoke in it. It ticks every box. Very Springbanky in different ways. But we'll smell it, we'll have a little taste as well. The nose is very floral and you get a really good intersection of bourbon barrel, smoke, virgin oak and rum. The first thing I got off the top of it is almost like this, almost like I don't even know if this exists, but like take brown sugar, like Demerara sugar, but make it kind of smoky, almost in like a barbecue marinade or like some sort of culinary influence to it. Sweet smoke, essentially, almost like a Kalila. I'm not sure the ppm level, so you have to maybe go to BenRiach for that. But sweet smoke, and then there's almost like an apple cider vinegar thing kicking around in the background. Bits of white wine, and kind of dry, sour, kind of grassy as well. And there's something here I can't quite put my finger on. It's nicer than what I'm about to say, but there's almost like a plasticine element to it, but not in a bad way. Like just, the smell of plasticine, it's like that, but it's not offensive. But that's the only thing I can think to name it. Almost like a slight plasticky note. But beyond that, you've got this big sweet smoke profile, sweet and sour apple flavors running through it. Very green, very clean. Fresh. You can almost imagine yourself drinking this in summer, but it reminds me a lot of Springbank 10 and a little bit of Springbank 15 too. It's nice and sweet on the palate. A little bit of spice rolls in. You can feel the virgin oak, giving it like a bit of a push. You get this nice kind of fizzy spice throughout your mouth. Nice oily texture too. It's not the heaviest thing in the world. It's not like Ardbeg oily heavy, but it has a nice density to it. And then towards the finish, you just get like a little bit of bourbon cast, that little bit of rum, a little bit of sweetness, and a little bit of smoke as well. Beautiful balance. Really, really well balanced whiskey. And it's clean and it's fresh. So it does all these things, but it's not really heavy and it's not really dense. And it doesn't feel like you can only maybe drink one glass of it every month or something. It's got a lightness to it, but a complexity to it. and I really, really like it. I'm really happy that when I saw the new cases coming in, it said 46% on it. I was like, yes, they took it back to the way it used to be. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much. And it's really exciting and it's really different. And I think if you've had Speyside and you like Islay whiskey and you like Highland whiskey, this is like a nice intersection for you. Much like many Campbelltowns are, like Springbank, Longrow, Scotia, some of the Kilkerran stuff. I really dig that. And for the value, it's less than £50 a bottle. It kind of sits around like 45 to like £47 a bottle. It's like a solid 8.5 for me. The finish isn't as long as I'd like it to be, but it is only a 10-year-old product, so I'm pulling at straws here, being a little bit, tenacious for want of a better word. But beautiful balance, everything you could want flavour-wise, sweetness, smoke, heavy density, but a really good 8.5 for a whiskey that is below £50 a bottle in the UK. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, Rachel, for making it amazing again. I'm Phil. This is the Whisky Shop in Manchester, and I will see you all again next week. Thank you.